Welcome to WeTM, where not only do we talk music, but we get to know the artists behind the music. You're here with the one and only JB The Truth, and got another real one in the building with me, a multi-talented musician, blending dance, jazz, R&B, and Latin influences into her own signature sound. Her music explodes with self-expression, introspection, and mesmerizing sensuality, captivating every bit of a crowd's attention with her bold style and undeniable charm. London's very own Rosa Cecilia.
That was the nicest intro ever. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you. How are you feeling? How's your day going?
I'm feeling really good. I've written music this morning. I had an interview for a day job, keeping it real.
Nice.
Good.
Nice. Is your morning time, is that usually like when you like to write? Is there a certain time?
No, I think it depends. Like last night, actually, I had like a real strike of inspiration where I felt really sleepy and wanted to go to bed, but I just sat on the piano for 20 minutes because I was feeling a bit emotional. And like a verse and a chorus that I really like just popped out. So it depends on the day.
Yeah.
I try not to force it too much, but
Right.
I also like to have discipline at the same time.
Got it. Let it come to you. Well, we're going to talk about your music, she already said she plays the piano. I said she's a multi-talented musician. Before we get started, I want to play a little game with you, this or that.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you two options. You have to choose between those two options.
I won't overthink it. Let's go.
Let's do it. Okay. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunsets.
Early bird or night owl?
Both.
Early bird or night owl?
Night owl, the fun shit happens at night. Oh, can I curse? No.
Yeah, you can cuss.
Okay, cool.
FaceTime or text?
Text.
Text.
Actually, voice note if I'm being real specific, but text.
That's me. I'm a voice noter, and people hate it, though.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic, so like I
Right.
love to voice note.
Yeah.
I think I feel like there's a time limit. If you go over 40 seconds, you're capped.
I go to like a minute.
That's all right, I'll forgive you. Put you on 1.5.
And when I see it, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, this is long with it. All right, stop. And I try to hurry it up.
Yeah.
Okay, solo trip or girls trip?
Girls trip.
TV or movies?
Movies.
Albums or playlists?
Album.
Comedy or horror?
What?
Comedy or scary movies?
Oh, horror.
Horror, yeah.
I thought you said horror, like the horror.
Comedy or
Comedy
horror?
or
It might be
horrors.
the Texas draw.
Comedy.
Comedy. And dreamer or realist?
Oh, dreamer.
Dreamer. Okay. I like that. I tried to guess what answers you were going to choose.
Yeah?
And I was pretty spot on.
What did you guess for tea or coffee?
I said coffee.
Yeah.
I said coffee. I was wrong with play. For some reason, it gave me playlist, even though you make a great album or a great EP,
Oh,
whatever
thanks.
people want to qualify it as. But I thought you were more of a playlist person.
I love a good playlist, but recently, as I made a reel about the other day, the playlists have not been playlisting because of AI. I feel like it's just not, music discovery is just not the same right now as it was a year or so ago.
Yeah.
And also I feel like an album is so important when it comes to artist identity, because I feel like I know now like artists need to roll out single by single, but I think living in like an album mindset, because as humans, not even just as artists, as humans, we have eras and like moments in our life. So I feel like getting everything out into like one concrete album is important for growth, I feel.
Absolutely.
So I try to respect that as a listener as well as an artist.
I appreciate that as a listener, because I do like complete albums and really get to know someone instead of a playlist can be fun, especially for if you have company or if you're throwing like a little party. But an album, if I'm by myself, is going to take reign every single time.
So yeah, so true. Playlists more social, albums more solo.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into who you are. First, Rosa Cecilia. I'm assuming that's not your real name.
That is my real name.
That is your real name?
It's my first name and my middle name.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful name.
Thank you.
I thought it was a stage name. I was like, what's the story
No.
behind Rosa Cecilia?
No, that's my name. It's my two grandmothers' names.
Okay,
Rosa and Cecilia.
got it.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about your background, because obviously there's some Latin in there, but I know there's some British in there as well. So you're kind of championing both.
Yeah, so I was raised by my Italian, Chilean, English family, but I was born in London. I grew up in London, and all cultures were very strong in my household.
Yeah. If you had to choose between whose music was outside of yourself, if you lean towards, I'm getting you in trouble in minute one.
No, do you know what? The person whose music was my dad had a massive music vocabulary. So none of my family are really instrumentalists or musicians. My dad played a bit of drums back in the day, but I didn't grow up with like instruments in my house. But my dad had a huge record collection, and he was very techie, and he, like, from the second he woke up to the second we went to bed, there was always music playing.
Nice.
And I think the beautiful thing about growing up in London is, sure, there was Italian music, there was Latin music, there was British music, but I went to school with Jamaicans, Brazilians, Polish kids, African kids. So there's music from everywhere. And my primary school, which is just around the corner from here, actually, they were really good. Like, we used to have things like International Week, where everyone had to like play a song from their heritage, bring a dish from their heritage. So I just grew up around like sounds from everywhere. So I think that has organically influenced my sound and my personality, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. London, since I've been here, is definitely a very diverse city. Like, I see every walk of life since I've been here.
Yeah.
Houston's also very diverse, so that's nice to see that that's not the only place like that.
Yeah, you got hella Latinos in Texas.
Yeah,
More
yeah.
than here, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was raised around. So it was all
Is it?
all Hispanics,
I got
50%
country.
Hispanic, 50% Black schools from K through 12. Yeah.
Oh my God. Shout out Selena Quintanilla as well.
I don't speak Spanish,
Oh,
unfortunately.
sorry, Selena. You know Selena?
Oh, Selena. Yeah.
Shout
Okay.
out Selena.
Shout out. You said it so quick that I didn't catch it. I said, wait, shout out to who? But that's great. When I was doing my research on you and kind of looking at you and hearing your music, it seemed like you've always had like a bit of star power, a bit of main character energy. Were you in theater growing up, or was it anything that you were doing as a child or adolescent where you kind of started to see, okay, being a star or being a musician is something that I want for my life?
Do you know what? Thank you for saying that. And it's so interesting that you say that, because I wasn't in theatre growing up and I wanted to be so bad. But I was a bookworm. I was shy. I had this big frizzy hair, braces, glasses. I was skinny. I was tall.
Yeah.
So they never gave me the parts. Even though I sang my butt off in the audition,
What we
I think my
doing?
drama teacher was like, yo, nobody wants to see that. That's the main. So I always got cast as like the murderous ex-wife
Oh, no.
or the narrator.
Yeah.
And, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I was a really shy kid. So I think that, but I remember at the end of primary school, so I was 10 years old, my guitar teacher, she heard me singing in guitar lesson, and she was like, oh, you can really sing. I was like, thank you, I love singing. So she asked me to sing Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas, at the Christmas play, like the end of, so around this time of year. And I could hit the high note at the end, like I could do the whistle note.
Okay.
And I remember when I did that and I saw the reaction of everyone in the audience, and that was, I think, the moment that changed my life, because I went from being the shy, nerdy, ugly duckling that everyone ignored, and all of a sudden everyone had their head on me.
Right.
And I was like, and they were smiling and it made them feel happy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, me singing makes people feel happy, and it gives me a little bit of attention just for a moment. I don't want too much,
Right.
because I like being the bookworm, but if it made me feel like it gave me attention I could control. And I feel like then when I went to secondary school and I got contact lenses and I turned into La Rosa,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I'm going to be the singer. And so in secondary school, I was singing a lot and performing a lot. But I was never like a theatre trained kid or anything. But thanks.
Yeah, well, no, you definitely have it. And that's funny that it took that performance to kind of put you in the spotlight of out of nowhere. Did you have the confidence even back then, or was it something that you kind of developed over time? Like, okay, now I can sing. Now I have to have the confidence to actually, get on stage and, make music and put it out. Like, how'd that transition going from a high school kid singing All I Want for Christmas to, where we are?
Yeah, I definitely didn't have the confidence. Like, in that case, I needed my guitar teacher to really be like, you can do this, you can do this. Because I was known for being the shy kid, the bookworm, the nerdy, funny kid.
Right.
And still, I think to this day, like, I didn't release music until after I left university, because my parents, like, they didn't get A-levels, they didn't get a degree. So I very much was like, I'm a very academic person. I love reading, I love studying. So I was like, I'm going to get my degree, do that, and then start releasing music. So that's when I began 3 years ago. But it took me that time and that, like, flying the nest and being on my own to build the confidence. And I moved to Paris when I was like 19 for a couple of years. And I really wanted to know who I was before putting music out. And even then, actually, there's part of me still that wishes I waited a little bit longer. But it's cool.
Timing is timing. I feel like time is never perfect. It's what you make it. So you started when you were supposed to start, which led you to doing all the things that you're doing now.
True.
And so it seems like you play a couple instruments as well. So what all instruments do you play?
So I play guitar. I got a year's worth of lessons in primary school and then a bit in secondary. And then I play piano as well. But I wouldn't say that I'm a guitarist or a pianist. I just play to the extent to write. But I think it's interesting you asking me about the confidence to perform, because there's two sides to my character. There's Rosa, the introvert, that's the writer,
Right.
and then Rosa Cecilia, that's the performer that like takes the songs and turns them into like a performance. So yeah, when I'm playing my guitar and my piano, I'm very much like the introverted me. And then that's why I don't like to play. People ask, why don't you play your guitar and piano in shows? My band always saying like, play it, but I like my body to feel free so that I can express myself physically.
Okay.
So yeah.
Is there any parts of Rosa, the human being, the everyday human being, that you try to keep separate from your music and your performance, even like the writing?
I used to, but recently I'm letting go of that. So the music I have out now, there's definitely elements of my life I haven't shared, but I'm trying to be as poetic as possible so that I can still be vulnerable and open, but not too explicit and like be obvious about what I'm sharing about my life.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to scare anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotta hide a few things.
Yeah, come on,
I
keep
get
a bit
that.
private. I'm quite a private person, so I try to keep things private.
What your songs? Your songs put some of your songs put it out there. They put it out there. Feel free to. I know y'all gonna go take a listen. I don't have to tell y'all that. But once you do take a listen, you'll hear some fantastic lyrics. You're a great writer as well.
Oh, thank you. That's something I'm trying to get better and better at. So thanks.
Yeah. I would say to just keep, not to even overthink it. Like, I like how when you're singing, it's kind of like I can be in the moment. Like, it kind of unfolds where you start it can go from a glare to a touch to a feeling, and it just kind of like slowly unfolds like in the music. And then you go off and riffing, and then I'm seeing dance moments as well. So it seems like a real cool vibe when I'm listening to it.
Thank you. Yeah, one of the producers I work with called Lorenz, he's also a really good friend of mine. He said something like that the other day about how he like cracked the formula of how I write, whereas like I start usually with a verse. It's a very specific experience to me, and then from the chorus to the verse 2, I tend to open it up so it's more like interpretable. And I was like, yeah. So it's kind of what he said. I like the glare to a feeling. That's really nice. I might steal that for a
Steal
lyric.
it. Take it. A little bit of personal and a little bit of universal for everybody.
Yeah, for real.
I'm gonna put you on the spot again, and this is an unfair question. I'm recognizing that. But if you could describe your music in 3 words, what would you say?
I would say, passionate, soulful, and cinematic. I think.
Those are great words.
Thank you.
Yeah. One of your more recent songs, Desire.
Yeah. That puts stuff on the table. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that puts stuff on the table.
Yeah.
It has the passionate to it, and it has the cinematic to it. Have you got to? It seems like a really good dance song, like something that people can have fun to. Have you got to experience people listen to that song and dancing to it?
Yeah, live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Live, which has been really good, and the live version of the song is very different to the produced, not very different, but obviously it has that kind of more tactile feel than the produced version of the song, and I love both versions. But I actually made a music video that I shot fully on film, like 35mm, with my friend Malcolm, and I'm putting it out in like 10 days time, so maybe by the time this is out, it will be out.
It will be.
And I do a lot of dancing in there with this amazing girl called JJ, who has started helping me with like movement direction and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been really fun to experience my music through a more physical form too.
Right. Well, Rosa by Desire, Rosa Cecilia, Desire, music video out now. Make sure y'all go check that out. I'm sure it's amazing. How does it feel when you're watching and seeing people enjoy your music? Like in person, you're on stage performing. What's going through your mind?
Oh my God, it's the best feeling in the world. I think we all just want to feel seen in life, right? Point blank, no matter what you do. Like the feeling of someone seeing you and seeing the real you and the multiple layers of you is so satisfying and like brings so much joy in a world where we can often feel very invisible. So when I do a show and I can see like the reaction of especially women, but actually all people, but I have to say there is something about when there's female fans and they're there and they're listening and they come up to me after and they're like, I felt exactly like that when I broke up with this guy, or I feel like that, right? Like I did a very intimate, low-key show on Tuesday because I was just supporting, so I did just me and one of my guitarists, Kian, who's amazing. He's also British Latino, he's Colombian.
Okay.
And these girls who came to the other show, the full band show, came and they were saying how nice it was to hear the lyrics in like a stripped back context. And like one of them was at the show before, like crying and like, you know. So it's nice to make people feel something, you know, and to feel like they're not alone in that experience. Because that's what music does for me. So the fact that I can give that to other people now is so surreal, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine. Is that something that you think about when writing? Like, how are people going to feel when they hear this? What is going to be their reaction to it?
When I'm tweaking, yeah, like final draft stuff, but no, not initially. I'm quite selfish, I think, when I'm writing. I'm just like, oh, I feel like this. I want to get this out.
Right.
You know, and then when it comes to the final draft, I'll be like, oh, maybe that would be like a cheeky little anecdote that someone might appreciate. But that's very much just the icing on the cake.
Yeah. So what is it about the woman experiencing it that makes you feel it even more so than, you know, the men feeling it maybe? Or is it just more frequent that the women are, I guess it's maybe easier for them to relate to your music than men?
Yeah, I think it's easier for them to relate. It's interesting though, because I think that whenever I play a song to men, not all the time, but I'm honestly 90% of the time, women will listen to the melody and the words and men will listen to the beat.
Yeah.
So when I have male listeners, they love the beat, they love the show, they love the bass line. The men always like, the bass line is sick.
Right,
I'm like, yeah, the bass line is sick. I actually have written a few of the bass lines to my songs.
Oh.
And because I love, it's one of my favorite, it's probably my favorite instrument, bass. But my hands are too small. Like genuinely, I've tried to play it and I can't.
Yeah.
But they'll notice that. They'll notice like the groove and the like instrumental feeling. Whereas women tend to be more lyrical. Upon first listen,
Right.
not upon long listen. I don't want to generalize, but that's just what I've noticed with my music, which is so interesting.
Well, that generalization hits me because when I first heard your music, I was definitely listening to the beat. I think I told you, I was like, right now I'm dancing around my apartment to Desire.
Love that.
And I was like, to get ready for the interview, I sat down and listened to the words, and I was like, okay,
You're like,
let me see what she's saying. I was like, all right, she's talking on here. She is talking.
Yeah. To be clear, that song is not 100% autobiographical.
Oh,
Just in case people are wondering,
we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. We're taking every word as true, even though
but
we know.
everything in the song is 100% my life.
Right.
No, joking.
No, I get that. I understand that there's art and then there's real life, and sometimes the art shows a little bit of the real life.
Exaggerated.
Yeah, it's cinematic.
It's exactly
you
cinematic.
say.
But that's interesting that you listen to the beat, for sure.
Absolutely. And going back, you released Take None in 2021.
Yeah.
But it still sounds good. It's very timeless music.
Thank you.
How did you feel about it then versus how do you feel about it now?
I feel better. I feel more proud about it now than I did then. It was the first thing I ever released, like 3-year anniversary literally this month, or maybe like 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So it's been, thank you. So it's been, 3 years since I started releasing. And I think at the time, also, look, everyone says numbers don't matter, but like it is nice to have validation of numbers because when I released, I had no audience, and then the songs didn't really pick up streaming wise until about a year ago, literally like earlier this year, because a few of my videos from my live shows went viral, and I think people fell in love with the live versions, and then they went to stream it. So it's been nice to see the response and also to see the growth. I've been through a lot in the past 3 years, a lot of changes, and I even took a year out because of like a family passing and all this kind of stuff. So I look back on that project with so much pride now because I knew nothing about the industry. I'd never had a proper studio session in my life.
Oh, wow.
No, it was...
You recorded that like at home, like a home mic?
I recorded it, so it was produced by 2 producers. One, my friend Lorenz, one, my friend Ollie, who I met when I was 16 in music tech class at school.
Nice.
And so we wrote everything in Ollie's mom's house or Lorenz's mom's house back then. And then we recorded half of it. Lorenz has a home studio. And then Ollie and I have a good friend, Ewan, who also mixed the project. And he linked us up on like a discount to use like a nice studio in Brick Lane. So it was proper budget stuff.
Yeah.
I think I even used some of my uni loan to like pay off a bit of it.
Hey, gotta get it how you can.
You get it while you can. And then I've literally been marketing it for 2 years, like with no budget. And then it paid off. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. That speaks volumes that it still sounds good, and I'm happy that you're still proud of it because you should be.
Thank you.
I like that you talk about your producers because I think sometimes they kind of get overlooked, and they are a big piece of music.
Yeah.
So that's great that you kind of have that love, and I'm sure that they have that love for you right back. Yeah. And you have really great production. It seems like you use a lot of instruments, like live instruments is kind of your thing. When you're making a song, is it are you writing and then going and then making the beat? Is it the beat already made, then you write to it? When does the live instruments come into the play? Like, what's that creative process like?
I think it totally depends on the song. So like if it's a slower song, it tends to be I could have written that start to finish at the piano or on the guitar on my bed. Do you know what I mean? And then I'll bring it to a producer and be like, this is what I hear. A little Sade reference is always relevant.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll make a reference playlist but I really want to find my own sound. They're just inspirations. They're not like set in stone. More upbeat songs, like with Desire, that was produced by a lovely guy called JRJ. We started that beat from scratch because I was like, I want a salsa. I want like a subverted French Spanish salsa. So we did the beat first, and the melody came on top, and we wrote it bit. That song took a year to write properly. Like we wrote it bit by bit by bit because I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. So yeah, it really depends on the song.
Yeah.
For sure. And then with live instrumentation, I wish I could do that more often than I do because it's so expensive to record. But I'm very lucky enough that my band have got my back like that. Like they're so we're so tight, and so I like to play things with them, and then that will inspire the production. So sometimes I'll just be like, "Yo, can we play this song?" And they're like, "Yeah," because they're so good. They just learn it in like 20 minutes, literally in the car on the way to rehearsal. So we'll do like a live. So that happened with Desire. Like we did a live version for like a year, and then I was like, okay, that's gonna inspire the production.
And then are they actually recording the instruments, or are they doing it like on a computer to duplicate the instruments that are played live?
Like my song Paradise, we did a live drum recording, but the others, no. The others, I'm lucky enough to work with producers that are multi-instrumentalists, and then we use drum loops because I haven't had the budget yet to do a live band recording.
Right.
Until maybe now. I can't say more on that.
It's
but
coming.
Yeah, it's coming. But no, everything else is like a blend of live and loops.
Nice. I'm unfamiliar. The studio sessions I've been in, it's never been any instruments there, so I wasn't sure if people were. I know that in my head, that's more of like an old school way of making music. So I wasn't sure if that was like still a thing going on, where it's like, hey, bring your guitar, bring your piano. We're gonna actually make the music live. Yeah. So that's cool that you kind of flirt with both of them.
I think in a world now where everything is so like computer generated, bringing in live instrumentation brings that fresher sound. And I do think the human ear can hear the humanity in live playing, even if it is just a synth. The difference between like having a producer that can play that in and a loop or a sample, I think that you can feel it emotionally, and I like the freshness that it creates within a sound.
Absolutely, yeah. I do too, and it comes through the music on this side, so that's cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. What's your favorite part as far as making a song? Because I can tell you're a real artist. Like even when you talk about the production, you're talking about writing the production, and you produce, you make music. Obviously, you're performing the music. So, what's your favorite part as far as the whole process of being an artist?
I mean, I wouldn't say I produce. I would say I can guide. I have an awareness of production and I can guide production. But producers are amazing. I could not do that job. It's very, no offense, guys, love you. It's quite a nerdy job.
Yeah,
like they're literally sitting in a dark room for hours, like tweaking things away.
Right,
I just want to go in and be like, I've broken my heart and I want to say this about a guy, or I've fallen in love. Blah, blah, blah. You know, like I just want to kind of express in that way. So I think do you know what? There's this another cool podcast actually by this guy called Nicky something, and he divides artists into three things. He says all artists are all three of these, but most artists, one sticks out, and it's vocalist, writer, performer. And so if I had to choose between those three, I don't know if I could choose between writing and performing, because like I said, I treat them as two people. So I love that feeling of like just sitting all by myself, the solitude of like getting something out.
Right.
But then I love the like collaborative experience of performing it. But I do love performing.
Yeah, you put on a show.
Thanks.
And I haven't been to a show, unfortunately. Not hopefully. I'm sure one day I'll get to go to a show.
Hopefully.
But even when you look at her social media, you can see like she draws the crowd in. You know how to like really connect with people and just have fun with it. Like I feel like I love artists who have fun with their music, and you can tell like you actually enjoy the music and enjoy performing it, so you can feel that in the crowd.
Yeah, I love performing. When I was a little kid, my mum used to play us like old musicals from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, like West Side Story, Hello Dolly, Funny Face, and I used to look at them and I literally thought that everyone that was a singer was also a dancer and an actor. So I thought that, you know, that was what it was. And then in my teen years, I would like study for hours just watching videos of Sade, Selena, J-Lo from like the early noughties. Oh no, she can't. The singing is questionable. But the dancing, we're not going to comment on that because Thea J-Lo, like, it's a complicated relationship.
Yeah.
But like, if you actually look at her shows from like 2002, the curation of the choreography is like incredible. Videos of Beyonce from like 2003. I just used to sit and watch. And so, yeah, if that would be my biggest dream, like if I could curate my perfect career, would just be to put on incredible shows. So I think right now that's my favorite part.
Performing, nice. And I see that it seems like you like cinema a little bit of movies. If your artistry, if your music career was a movie, what genre would that movie be?
Oh, it's so hard. Have you seen a movie called Paris Blues?
Nope.
It's so good. It's like, it's filmed in black and white.
Okay.
It's got Sidney Poitier, Paul Newman. It's filmed in Paris, 1961. It's about jazz musicians.
Okay.
And like in two interracial relationships. Actually, no, I lie. The book was about interracial relationships and they didn't put it on screen because it was too much of a risk. But you can feel the tension. But it's a beautiful film.
Right.
I would like for my music to be.
Is it like a drama? Is it dark? Is it light? What's the feeling?
It's like romantic, political, cinematic, international. Yeah, it's almost a blend of like French Nouvelle Vague and American jazz picture in one. So
nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good movie to watch. I don't know about it being in black and white, but
no, it's good,
everything else sounds
good. It's really beautiful and aesthetic, and the style is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's nice. Do you need inspiration to write a song, or are you just always writing about any and everything?
Oh, right now my life's been life in, so I don't really need the inspiration. So like a lot's been happening. But sometimes, honestly, just living, and I think I like traveling. I like moving a lot. So in the past month, I used to live in Paris, so I go back quite often to visit my friends there. Paris always inspires me. There's just something magical about that place. I love it. And then I also went to visit some friends who are living in an artist residency in Ibiza. And I forced myself to kind of like be really alone. Like I cried on one of the days, and they had this massive room with the grand piano. And the other artists were painters, so it's not like I was writing with other people. Like I was spending a lot of time by myself on this mountain. So that inspires me a lot, just kind of switching location.
Yeah. What's so great about Paris that you like? Because you lived there some years as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it something about Paris that kind of influences your music any or inspires you particularly?
Yeah, I think it's the pace of life, and they have quite an attachment to tradition, but they also like moving forward. And I quite like that. It creates quite like a mellow pace, whereas I think here we're so obsessed with the future. I would say Americans too, like we're very forward thinking.
Yeah.
Whereas the French, they are forward thinking, but they enjoy that kind of like sitting in a bar and smoking and drinking wine for 3 hours and like having those conversations that you'll go home and sit on the piano and it's like one thing that someone said might inspire something. And yeah, my recent trip was really, it felt quite cinematic. They were like cinematic moments. So I came back feeling like, okay, cool. I've got things to say.
I could see French. I've been hearing a lot about how like music now has become like a passive thing, whereas more in the old days it was the primary thing that you would do. Like you would sit down and you'd be like, hey, I want to listen to music. And I feel like a lot of people now, they be playing a video game and the music is in the background and it's secondary. I feel like French may be one of the places where more people like me that be like, okay, I want to listen to this album, and I'm just sitting down and listening to that album. Is that something? Obviously, the landscape right now of music is all over the place with social media and with playlists and with we'll touch on some of those things. But just as far as the microwave era of quick playlist, does that influence your music any? Does that? I guess a better question is, do you take into account the attention span of listeners these days and how you make music?
Oh, there was a phase where I was. Like a year ago when I was just going through a lot of stuff, I was thinking like, okay, how can I start this? Like overthinking the mathematics of a song and being like, should I begin it with this? Because that is catchy and what sounds the catchiest and blah, 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 blah. And I was just making music that didn't touch me and that wasn't timeless and wasn't... I would listen back to it a week later and be like, what is this? This doesn't sound like me. It didn't have my identity rooted in it. I believe in humanity. I think good music is good music. I also believe in good storytelling, which is through good lyricism. Yeah. I think if you have a really strong story, it will grab people. Like I think an artist who's killing it in the UK right now is Olivia Dean. And like literally she'll just upload like a video of her playing guitar and it touches me because the way she plants her lyricism
Right.
is just so strong, and it's such timeless music. Like that song could have been written 60 years ago, give or take a few words, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I believe in the power of good music, and I think good music lasts. So yeah, but that brings me on to another thing actually, which is on social media, something I've found helpful in growing an audience recently is not just sharing my music, but sharing my personality. Because I recognize there's 1,000,001 people out there doing music.
Yeah.
Just showing me in the studio and dancing and da-da-da is not enough to create that connection. So I have been posting more about my opinion on the industry, my experience as an independent. Like I don't have a manager, I don't have a booking agent, I don't have a label, I don't have anyone on the business side. It's all me right now.
Wow.
Everything is me. I have one friend who's a really good friend who helps me with tips on what to do with my socials, and I'm so grateful for him. But I want to talk about that experience because I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors with independent artists and this desire to come across as if we're doing so well.
Right.
But it's actually all of us are working night shifts at Soho House or a Chinese restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know. But I think that authenticity is really important.
It definitely is, because people, I hate people that are like the too cool, and especially these days, you can't even break through if you're trying to be too cool. It's gonna be like, you know, because none of us are too cool, so if we can't relate to the struggle that you're going through, then it doesn't feel real. So that's nice that you're that authentic. And obviously there's the social media. One, you're killing it. To not have a team and everything, and you're doing on your own, that's amazing that it looks the way it looks.
Thanks.
What do you love about social media? Is there anything you hate about social media?
I used to hate some things about social media, but I think that we had to take responsibility and stop complaining. Like if the things, because the things that we hate is being on it too much. Just turn your phone off.
True.
Just go out with a mate.
Yeah.
Read a book. Do you know what I mean? Like
Get
we
outside,
have the
get some
power,
sun.
guys. It's easier said than done, but like we have the power. I love social media. Like I love the people I meet on it. I love connecting with people on it. I love sharing my story, and I try to respond to as many DMs as I can. And whenever I do, 9 times out of 10 people will say, I love how you always respond. I love how you're so interactive.
Yeah.
And then if I do have the pleasure of bumping into them in the street, which has happened more often than not recently, which has been so nice, they have only nice things to say about like a lyric or a show or whatever. And having that connection is so beautiful. Like that's amazing.
Yeah. And it's a way to connect that wasn't always there. I think in the old days, it was like all about being mysterious and not knowing people. And now it's like people are dying to know who this person is behind the artist.
Yeah.
So that's cool that we have that route and that you found your way to do it, make engaging content, but still have it authentic to who you are. Because when you go to her page, it's not that personality can't be faked. Rosa Cecilia, her personality on her Instagram page, it cannot be faked at all. So I appreciate that as a fan.
Yeah, thank you. No, I mean, I know that what I am doing is a little bit unorthodox sometimes. Like this video I posted last week that I think it's on 100K now. I was like in Paris and I lost my day job recently. And I just thought, how can I have almost 70,000 Instagram followers and 70,000 Spotify monthly listeners and not be making, not be able to be like, okay, I'm not balling, but at least I'm making minimum wage. And so I made a video about that. And I had some other small artists DM me saying, oh my God, girl, like I so appreciate you sharing this, but you're so brave to share that. I was like, I didn't even think about that. Because they're like, I wouldn't want to be that honest about my life. And so, but I think it's important that we're honest. We are all struggling here. And then I ended up, I don't know if it's going to follow through, but I ended up having a listener DM me and offer to invest money in my project because he sees what I'm doing and he's like, I feel like you're going places, so I'm willing to like financially invest in you. I don't have any labels reaching out to me saying that.
Right.
So that's why I appreciate my listener connection so much, because they're my client.
Yeah.
They're buying the live show tickets. They're buying the T-shirts. They're potentially investing in my team and my project. And I'm so grateful for that. So I want to give them, obviously I have boundaries, but I want to give them my story to the extent that they deserve and that can inspire them and connect.
No, that's dope. And you hit on my next question, because it definitely is hard to make a living as an artist. That's like a truth that I guess most people aren't honest enough to talk about. So that's good that you are. But I was going to ask, what are your plans to try to make a living off of music? But it sounds like you're already thinking about that and getting those opportunities.
Yeah, I think so. And I think outing it is also important collectively. Because since losing my day job, even though it was scary, it actually has made me think now, like, okay, how can I make money from this? Like maybe I do more private membership shows where I can charge higher fees because they have the budget to do so, etc. So I am thinking, of course, from a selfish perspective, like how can I pay my rent and pay for my project and find investment? Then on the flip side, I want to think about it from a collective standpoint, as in like, how can we all start making money? Because I'm not alone here. Not everybody has a rich dad to invest in them. If you do, slay and hook us all up, please. Because that would be great, honestly. Like, let's make a big familia together. Let's do it. But, even Lily Allen said she made more money off of feet pics on OnlyFans. Oh. She made £18,000 off of feet pics on OnlyFans, more than Spotify made her. We're talking about one of the biggest pop stars. And this is not a pop star that started releasing music in the streaming era. This woman sold CDs.
Right.
Sorry, I get so passionate. But like, girl, what the hell is going on? So it's like,
sense.
if Lily Allen is having issues, can you imagine the issues that people like us are having?
Right.
So I think I want to make content that outs it and speaks about it. Even producers are being screwed over. Writers are being... an artist like Ray, who I admire so much. I don't know if you've looked... She's huge here. I don't know if she's big in the States. She's amazing.
I may know her if I hear the music.
Yeah. She did that song Escapism. She's dope. But she's out. She used to be a writer for other artists. I think she still does it from time to time. And she talks about how the point system isn't fair, and we need to start getting paid for our work, because again, it's the song that connects. It's the song that people are buying into, and yet it's the big streaming platform execs that are taking the massive paychecks, and I just don't think it's fair.
It's not fair. So how do we change it?
I think we've got to keep talking about it. We've got to rally, we've got to keep talking about it. We've got to ask fans for support as well. There are fans that have money out there. Like, I think as well, when you come from a background that, $1,000 to me as a small artist sounds like a lot of money. So a lot of people, that's not a lot of money. Right. And that's okay. But if they're willing to invest that in me, I got to take it with gratitude and intelligence and invest in myself. I think we all got to start investing in ourselves a bit more. But I'm still learning, so
absolutely. Well,
I'm open.
You're learning, but learning is half the battle. I think once you start learning, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're learning, you're actually much more ahead than a lot of people who are just like, this sucks, and then they just keep going on with their day and not talking about it.
Yeah, especially if you have something, if you have a skill and there's value in your skill, you should get paid duly for that, I believe.
I agree. We got to make it happen. Let me ask you this: if a major label did come to you and offer you a deal, would you accept, or would you rather stay independent?
I have a really good lawyer, so it depends on the terms of the contract. Shout out my lawyer, Lily.
That is a great answer. Okay, so if the terms are right, then you would be okay with it.
If the terms are right, we can have some conversations.
And then once you get in the door, then hopefully you could help it. You would have more influence.
Then I'll become an asshole, babe. No.
Right. Obviously.
But once I'm good, then screw y'all. No.
I'll never answer another DM again.
Y'all your DMs are closed.
Right.
No, of course.
Okay, well, we're going to hold you to that, because we believe that you are going to get to those points and more. So once you get there, don't forget about little old WeTM.
Never.
And the rest of your fans.
Never.
So obviously you develop the confidence. You have great music. Do you ever have moments of self-doubt where you wonder, should I be doing this? Can I keep doing this?
Yeah. Right now, I'm in a really good space. Right now, I feel like I could take over the world. I don't know why. Apparently, the moon entered Aquarius first time in 23 years. I'm Aquarius. I don't know if that's got to do with it. But yeah, definitely. Oh my God, I've had so many moments of self-doubt. And even, like I said, I'm my own manager, label, agent. But that also means that there aren't labels, managers, and agents that I believe are at the caliber of what I would expect, or what I think my creative team deserves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not being shady. That's just being real.
Yeah.
Then I do think, oh God, why isn't a big major manager reaching out and offering to help me? Why isn't a big label offering to help me? Am I not good enough? Blah, blah, blah. But I have amazing friends who are also creatives and are also part of my team. And they provide me with that validation when I need it. And I trust their judgment. And they wouldn't just like blow smoke up my ass.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if Malcolm believes in me, if Anna believes in me, if all my friends believe in me, then I'm cool. I must be cool. And I'm the same for them.
Right. That support group is important for you.
Yeah, for sure. There's like chosen family,
Yeah. Is that who you lean on when the self-doubt comes in? They kind of pick you up and be like, no, we need more music.
Yeah, I'm actually getting emotional thinking about it, to be honest, because I've been in such dark spaces and they've always been there to just remind me of my voice and how important my voice is. So yeah, I'm really appreciative of that, for sure.
Yeah. For the artists out there who are maybe going through similar things that you went through, that maybe don't necessarily have that support, do you have any advice for them for how, encouragement to keep going?
Yeah, can people start going out again? Go out.
Yeah.
Leave your house. I know it, because even cheap nights out, like I met all these amazing people either through being part of some form of collective, like creative collective, or literally just clubbing. Like literally just go out and have a good time. Like my brother's a bit younger than me. He's 20, 21. And he just doesn't go out. He's got great friends though. But that's how you meet good creatives, just having fun with people and then following up and having that coffee and having that conversation and doing photo shoots for £10 in your mum's office or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I've met people. And like we've had L's. Like I've done projects with these people that didn't work out and we all made mistakes, but that's how we learned and that's how we mastered our crafts together. So yeah, that's the advice I would say. And also I think female artists are often pitted against each other. And so there even was a period for the first year of my releasing music where I was friends with writers, I was friends with producers, photographers, but I didn't have any female artist friends. And I feel like that's such an independent experience. So now I have a lot of friends who are artists. My friend Jess, she's a really good friend of mine. I've known her for years. She's much further ahead of me in her career. And I'm so grateful for our relationship because she always reminds me like, babes, I was where you were like 6 years ago. Like, don't worry, you've got this. And I really respect that. It's helpful.
How is it being a female artist in the music industry? Is there certain experiences that you have to go through that maybe your male counterparts don't have to?
I wouldn't say it's like the male counterparts don't have to go through. Because, for example, if we're talking about a black male artist, because they're black, they're going to go through things that I wouldn't understand.
Right.
Then also I have the Latin layer, which is a community that has never really been represented from the UK. So people are scared of it. People don't understand it. I wouldn't even call myself a Latin artist. I just call myself an artist. And some of my songs you can hear I'm Latin because I'm being myself and I don't know how to not be myself. Yeah. And I am Latin.
Right.
So there's angles that come with the Latin thing, with the female thing. Queer artists have the same, you know. But I think if you have a strong voice, eventually just like fuck the boxes, you know, like, yeah. But there's definitely been moments where being my own manager and being my own agent, I go into certain meetings and I can just see them not really appreciating how many questions I have or how many things I know, and they don't seem to like it very much. But I don't really want to work with them anyway.
Right.
So it's not that deep.
Yeah, I'm about to say that helps you cancel out the ones that aren't, you know your worth. So you know the ones that should be with you are going to be the ones that appreciate those questions, appreciate that knowledge and that power that you hold within yourself.
100%.
Nice. Well, you've spoken about not always making empowering choices and embracing the messiness of yourself. Why do you think it's important to show that side of humanity in yourself?
Because that's life, I think. Like, life is messy, life is chaotic, life is self-doubt, tragedy, but it's also joy, and it's also like how to find moments of joy in that tragedy. I mean, even like if you look at love songs, like love has so much pain. Yeah. You know, like when you first like someone, you don't know if they like you back. That's pain. Then when you finally like each other, it's like, well, this might not last, and that idea is painful. And then when it ends, is painful. Like,
yeah, you know,
like life is duality, but I think that's the beautiful thing about it.
Do you think love is worth the pain? Is love worth the heartbreak?
Always. I think if you have a good sense of self in your, because okay, I just went through a breakup, and even though it was tough, he was a beautiful person. Like, I never would have entered a relationship, I think, with someone that wasn't super lovely. It's just a case of like, maybe our paths are not aligned. So yeah, definitely always worth the pain.
You say you never would have started like a relationship with someone that wasn't?
Yeah, I never, if like, he's obviously a lovely person. Like, I wouldn't have even, we were together for such a long time. Like, I wouldn't have been with someone for so long if they weren't gorgeous and joyful and beautiful, you know? I would have bounced a long time ago. Yeah. I think.
Yeah. It just, and sometimes, you know, things are meant for that time. Everything isn't meant for forever. So that love can be powerful, but just not be forever all the time. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? It is okay, right?
Yes,
I'm telling you, I'm convincing myself at the same time. Like, it is okay, right?
No, it is okay. Nothing is ever permanent.
Yeah.
That good or bad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to ride the wave while you're in it and like take the wins, take the L's.
Just got to ride the wave.
I just wrote a song called Ride the Wave.
Oof. We can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, but that's a crazy coincidence.
Yeah. So where are you trying to go with your music? Because it seems like some of the older music was it was a bit maybe heavier topics. Now it felt like it was a bit more dancey and romantic. Mm-hmm. Are you continued? Well, first of all, I see as far as genres, you hop in every bag. And I was one of the ones who, when I listened, I think subconsciously I try to put people in the box of, okay, this is R&B artist. And I was like, well, no, this is R&B. And then I heard, well, this is a pop song. Well, this is reggae. I was like, okay, this is dance. I'm like, oh, she does it all. So not as far as genres,
Yeah.
but as far as topics, where do you see your music going? Is there a certain direction that you want to go in for your next project?
The next project is all about love. Sorry, never had that before. But we gotta have that era. Like my
Right.
friend Jadzia, she lives near here actually. They were like, they messaged me last night and they were like, girl, I feel like this is gonna be your project, like your next, because I've been through a breakup. They're like, this is your scissor moment. This is your Billie Eilish moment. Because I feel like breakups, you know, they make you look at yourself, they make you reflect on not just that relationship, but your relationship with relationships in general. So yeah, sorry, not very original, but it is all about falling in and out of love with people, and maybe even falling in and out of love with elements of myself.
Well, Pain definitely makes great music, like the artist that you said. So I don't think that's a bad place to draw inspiration from at all.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. How is it when you, because obviously when you're sitting down and writing a song, you're feeling those emotions in real time, and then you have to take time to record it and all the marketing behind it, and then now you're performing it, and those feelings could be gone by then. So how is it performing songs that you've written, and do those emotions stay there, or does it feel weird or any type of way to perform something that was in the past?
Yeah, sometimes it does feel weird to perform things in the past, but I think the good thing about a good love song is that you can recontextualize it. Like it could have been about one person at one time, but then like I've even had freaky moments where, so my song Paradise, that is like the first song of my project, I wrote that in 2018 when I was
Oh,
a
wow.
teenager. Yeah, in my uni dorm about some guy that I felt for at uni.
Yeah.
And like I was playing it the other day and I was like, I hadn't played it and put it in my set in a long time. And I was like, oh my God, these lyrics apply so hard to like what I feel right now. And it's been, I don't know how many years since 2018, 6 years?
6 years.
6 years.
Right.
And the lyrics still apply, but in a different context, you know? So yeah, I try to always like, when I'm performing the song, it's like, again, I'm taking on the character of the narrative of that song. So, and I think if you, in the writing process, if you're as honest as possible, it has that timeless quality. Like that's always the music I like.
Right.
Like that's why I love Sade. I feel like her lyrics are so honest. Again, such a classic reference, but Amy Winehouse, her lyrics are so honest. And 20 years later, her songs feel like they could have been written yesterday.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I feel like that's how I know you're gonna be all right in the music industry, because your music is timeless. Like I was impressed by the 2021 EP, and then now you're saying the new song that I like, Desire, was written in freaking 2018.
No, Paradise was written 2018.
Oh, Paradise.
Desire was written 2022.
Okay.
So still like a minute ago.
Right, still a minute ago. So the fact that it can last that long and still sound good and still be relevant, I think that's a skill. I don't know if that's a skill or a natural ability. As far as, what do you think? Do you think your songwriting ability is that more of a learned skill, or is that more of something that you kind of just always had within you?
I love language. I've always loved language. My mum was even talking the other night about how she used to play me tapes when I was a kid, and I'm dyslexic, and it was Peter Rabbit, and my dad thought I was reading Peter Rabbit, and he was like, oh, child's a genius, she can read at 1 year old. But I was just quoting the tape that I would listen to at bed. So I've always been obsessed with like audio. I speak 4 languages. I love reading. I love just the way language sounds. So I think it is a natural passion, but practice makes perfect, and practice also makes permanent. Do you know what I mean? So like I try to practice with my lyricism to get stronger. But thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah,
Take
absolutely.
the compliment.
Yeah, no, take it. Is there anything that you're currently trying to improve on with your music or with your artistry?
Yeah, my pen. Like I'm trying to always get my pen stronger. Pen and performance. Like I've started working with JJ, so she helps me like take my live shows, and even if it's just like a little flick of the hand or like a little nod of the head or like a little da-da-da-da-da, you know, like it just, these little accents are my signatures. So yeah, it's probably my movement and my lyricism right now is what I'm really focusing on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're already great at both of those things,
Oh,
but it's
thank
always good to keep improving.
Thank
So
you.
that's amazing. As a mixed artist who hasn't always felt like they fit in, it seems like you may have gotten over some of that. If you haven't, let me know. But how has your identity shaped your music and your message?
I think my identity shaped my music in a way that ideally I wouldn't have to think about, because it's just completely organic. Like I feel like maybe you would answer the same. It's like the household you grew up in makes you who you are in many, many ways. And it's something that, again, if I want to express myself in a Latin way, I'm not thinking like, I need to be Latin right now.
Yeah.
Or like, I need to be white British right now.
Yeah.
Like, it just happens organically. Like, I grew up listening to Buena Vista Social Club and the Smiths, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to force it too much. There definitely was a period where I think I was forcing it a bit, and it felt so inauthentic. And I would never put any of that stuff out because, yeah, I was receiving comments like, you're not Latina enough, or like, you are a Latin artist and you make Latin music, and I don't, you know? So I try not to overthink it now. And again, it's just about being as honest as possible. If I feel like saying something in Spanish, I say it in Spanish. If I don't, I don't. And yeah, but I don't want that to sound like I'm not proud of my culture. I'm so proud of my culture. And like, you'll see on my socials, I post about my abuela all the time. She's my favorite person in the whole world. So I'm very proud to be representing British Latinos, but at the same time, I am mixed. And I'd say my narrative more represents just like mixed people in general.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a lost experience.
Right. I like how you put that, though. Like, the confidence comes from, you shouldn't have to think about it. Like, it's not like something that you're like, oh, I'm a Latin artist, or I'm like walking around like I'm a black man. So, but you can still have pride in what you face in it, but it's not like you're thinking about it and trying to purposely represent a certain thing on a certain day.
Yeah, because I think that it's not fair for non-white artists to have that pressure. We don't ask that of white British artists.
No,
to represent Surrey, to represent Gloucestershire.
Right.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like, we don't ask that of them. Like,
Not
it shouldn't be fair for you to have to represent all black people. There's a lot of black people in the world, babes.
It is
There's a lot of Latin people in the world.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to carry that on our back. We should be a voice. And, of course, black people may, resonate with your story. Latin people will, and mixed people and children of immigrants in the UK will resonate with my story. And I'm so happy for that. And I'm so happy to connect on that level. But it shouldn't be all that I have to say.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. I'm glad you've gotten to that point. I think that's a good message for other people to hear as well, that feel that pressure, that pressure.
Yeah. I was scared to say it for a time, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel like that with stuff.
Well, scared to say
what I just said. Because I thought, like, I posted a video of me being interviewed in a different behind the scenes of my show, and I'm saying it in a very similar way. And I was so scared to post it because I'm so proud of being Latin. Like, I'm so proud of how my grandparents came here and how the stuff that my mum, the racism my mum had to, because my mum's brown. I know you're looking at me like, oh, racist. What? But my mum is a person of color, so the stuff that my mum had to go through growing up in this country in like Margaret Thatcher era, I will never understand that experience. So I get scared sometimes to say, like, you know, what I just said to you, because I don't want it to come across for a second that I'm not proud of where I've come from and the sacrifice. Like, my song Gold Chains is all about the sacrifices that my family made for me to have the life that I have now. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair for ethnic minorities to simply be labelled as that and to have to wake up every day thinking, I'm a black man, I'm a Latin woman.
Right.
Because we're multifaceted and we're allowed to cry and we're allowed to be sensitive and just live what we want to live.
Absolutely. And to answer your question, now that I understand it more, no, I've never been afraid to say,
Cool.
I'm so anti-bully or anti-pressure that no one can ever make me feel like, oh, like, nah, not at all.
Yeah, because I thought I was going to post that video and people were going to comment like, you are ashamed of your culture, you should be proud. But they weren't. They were like, yes, trust. We feel the same. And
I would say
like,
those who get it, they get it. Yeah.
Those who get it.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned your mom a couple of times. Does she listen to your music?
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Now she does.
What made her start listening? She was off of it?
No, she's always my dad always listened to my music because me and my dad had that relationship. My dad passed away last year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So thank you. Yeah. So he always was the person I would go to. But my mum also loves the performance side of me the most. I think that's what she resonates with because she's a very visual person, whereas my dad maybe resonated more with the writer side.
Okay.
So it's been so lovely for my mum to be able to come to my shows. Like, she came to the one I did at Jazz Cafe with Madam Jazz, and she like stayed for the sound check, and she's like, I didn't realize you had to do all that stuff. She was like, that was my favorite part of the shows because you just took charge. She was like, you took charge, girl. Like, my mum was fierce. She was like, the way you were telling the sound guy that you needed more reverb. I was like, She was like, what's reverb?
Like, my daughter's a boss. Who knew?
Yeah, but she knew because she's a boss.
Okay.
And her mum's even more of a boss.
Right.
So the boss actually dilutes as she
You got it honest. You got it honest. So what does she think about your music?
She loves it.
Yeah.
She loves Desire.
Nice.
She's the Latin, my mom's a Latin parent, so my mom loves the Latin stuff. She loves Desire. She loves the feature that I just did with a Colombian artist called Davila. But my mom, guys, this song that I did with Davila, he wrote it first, and it's probably the most sexy song I've ever written.
Okay.
So this one line, it even goes, Estas olas se están mojando más, which means these waves are getting wetter.
Is that 707?
Yeah, 707.
Okay.
My mom loves this song.
Yeah.
She decides to play this song in the car with my abuela, my Chilean abuela.
Is that grandma?
My grandma.
Okay.
And my grandma's there like, yeah.
Yeah.
My grandma's there like, ay, she sounds so good, yeah.
Right.
Que lindo.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. And I'm like, my mom called me, she's like, yeah, she loves your song. And I'm like, Mom, why the hell would you play that? And she goes, she's 94. She's not listening to what you're saying. She's just listening to the tone.
And I was gonna say the opposite. I said, look, she grown. You looking at her like it's embarrassing. Look, I've been outside way before you were outside. Don't tell me nothing about sex.
Yeah, my mom's like, I know what that you're talking about.
Right, yeah.
But I just got so embarrassed that my poor grandma's listening to me talking these lyrics. It's like, yeah, fuck me on a plane.
Yeah.
My waves are getting wet. I'm like, my mom is playing this song. But it's so cute that my mom is that proud that she'll just show it to my grandma.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, she should be. That's the vision I was imagining, because I was like, how do those lyrics come up when you're sitting there with them in the car or wherever?
No, I didn't write it in the car.
Right.
No, she played. I wasn't in the car.
You weren't in the car?
I wasn't in the car.
Oh.
I was here in London. My grandma lives in Watford, which is a suburb, but she pronounces it Guafor.
Yeah.
People are always like, oh, sounds so exotic. Where is that? She's like, you don't know Guafor is off the
Guafor.
M25. She calls Gatwick Garawik.
Yeah.
She's a vibe. But anyway, no, I wasn't in the car. My mom was driving her somewhere and she played it to my grandma. And she called me after and told me. And I was just mortified. But she also was like, oh, get over yourself.
Right.
Like, we've been there, done that.
Exactly.
You're right.
I want you to be there. I want her to be able to make it to a show. I don't know her, but
my grandma?
I like her already. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she needs to come to it. She needs to be in the show.
She needs to be in the show.
Yeah.
Did she do any music, or is she just a big fan of music?
No, she does a little dance. She was always like dancing in the kitchen when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But no, my mum's family are not. Yeah, my mum's dad was quite musical. Like, he always sang a lot. But my mum's mum, no, she's not super. She loves music, but she doesn't play music.
Is there a certain dance style that you would do for Desire, like a bachata or salsa? Is there any type of formal dancing that would be for that type of beat?
I don't know, formal.
Well, formal as in like a label type of dance. Obviously, you can just vibe to it, but is there like a certain...
Yeah, I feel like salsa is the closest for sure. But that's why I like working with JJ. JJ's not Latin. She's from like South Africa, but she just comes with so much education, and she really respects my culture as well. She's always like, yeah, I'm going to research like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I try not to root all my movement in just like Latin, because again, I'm British, so I want it to be like a modern. And again, I love like musical theatre. Like, sometimes I even look at videos of freaking like Olivia Newton-John and be like, oh, that's a little move. Do you know what I mean? Like, throw that
Add
in.
that into the choreography.
Little Liza Minnelli, but do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think a salsa would be the vibe for Desire. But you can dance however you want to my music.
Have you always been a dancer? Do you like to dance?
I did ballet as a kid for 10 years, and I love ballet. I feel like ballet is like the classical music of dance. Like, if you can do ballet, you can do pretty much any dance form, I think, because it's so disciplined.
Yeah, unless you gotta have a lot of balance for that, I feel like.
Yeah.
I remember the ballet girls at my school, and I used to always be amazed at like the little shoes that they would wear, and it's like how it's like formed into like one toe. I'm like,
yeah. Did you dance as a kid?
No, not at all.
Did you ballet?
I went to a engineering. Half of the school was engineering, and half of it was performing arts.
Okay.
So like it was a lot of engineered kids, and then it was a really, really good program of dancers and theater kids and stuff like that.
And you were on the engineering side?
I was on the engineering side. Yeah, not an engineer.
You were watching the performing arts like, that's a vibe.
Yeah, I was probably too ignorant then to really appreciate it.
Okay.
But I recognized that they were talented. And then now I definitely recognize how like talented just the school is overall. It's like, okay, they're doing some good things over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could have. They would have booked you for the star role. So
nice.
they would have noticed you and been like, okay, forget the braces, forget the glasses, get on stage and sing something.
I'd play Ugly Betty, do you know what I
mean? No, they would have gave you a proper role. A proper role.
Thanks.
So talking about your music and the frequency of your music, it seems like You haven't released that much music recently. Is that intentional, or do you plan to release more music next year?
I'm planning on releasing a lot of music next year. The reason I didn't release a lot of music for the past year was, again, because I had a passing in my family. And also because I know I shouldn't be so precious about it, but like I said a million times, I don't have a business team. So I think there were so many moments where I was scared to put things out without just a soundboard. Like, it doesn't even need to be someone that's super experienced, but just having someone to be like, okay, let's market it that way, let's distribute it that way. I didn't even have like a distribution deal. I mean, my original management, they distributed things through them so that when I left, I didn't actually have access to that distro, which was not shady. It's just like unfortunate on my part. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that like things were in place, because it is, I know you shouldn't be so precious, but a song costs a lot of money. Like, even mixing a song on a mate's rate is like a good £300, which to an independent artist, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Plus the studio time, like you're looking at sometimes £1,000 a track. So like, you don't just want to throw £1,000 in the wind.
Never thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to like spread it out. And I know sometimes people say, oh, why didn't you put it out? But it's like, I wanted to make sure it was well thought. And also, like I said, with Take None, it didn't get traction until a year ago. So I'm still promoting that music, and I'm arranging it in a million different ways for my live shows, along with unreleased stuff. So I'm still proud of that project. And like Tyler, the creator, says, like, you should always be marketing your old stuff. So
Yeah.
even though I took a year out because of like, you know, family situations, I was still promoting. And actually, my following has grown more in the past year of only releasing like 1 or 2 songs than it did in the 2 years prior. Like, my following in the past 2 months, my engagement's up like 240%. I've got 40,000 new followers since January, and I think something like 12 million views on Reels and stuff like that. So I feel like I was focusing more on putting myself out as an artist so that there'd be more demand for what I have next. And it feels like I've achieved that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I found you way in Houston,
Yeah, here we
Texas, so
are.
that speaks
Here
to
we
it. So it's not like the plan is to build purposely. You're not. 'Cause I feel like there's 2 ways to go about it. Is to just throw a bunch of things at the wall. And I'm not saying that either one of these are right or wrong. I'm more so asking your opinion. To throw a bunch of things at the wall, or to release slowly and build purposely and kind of take your time. With obviously with the cost that I didn't consider, that puts another wrench in it. But which of those, if money wasn't involved, which of those would you rather do?
I'd love to throw things at the wall. I'd love to have that privilege, because I write all the time.
Got it.
Like, I've written so much for this project that part of me even wants to do like an acoustic project on the side. I don't think I'll do that. Maybe I will.
Do it.
Maybe I will.
Do it. Do it all. It's all about doing.
Exactly, but I just need a little bit of finance.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I had the money, I would be releasing probably at least every other month for sure.
Okay, got it. I hate that real world stuff gets in the way of my beautiful creatives just creating.
I know, it's a
Like,
shame. But even for you with the podcast, like if money was no object, you probably would be churning out whatever.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be working my job. I know that y'all not gonna watch this, but if I could just do this, I would just do this. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can both get to the point where we can be financially free to the extent that we can do our passionate as frequent as we would like to.
All in due time.
All in due time. So why do you make this? This is maybe sound like an introductory question, but why do you make music in the first place? You could be doing a million other things. Why music?
I don't know how to not make music at this point. It's like brushing my teeth.
Yeah.
Such a like cheesy answer, but like if I feel something, it literally helps me to put it into a song, and I've dealt with it then. 1 or 2 songs, I'm like, oh, okay, I've made sense of that. Like, I don't know how to not do it at this point. And my dad always encouraged me to write, because I was always singing in the house, singing. And I would write like little books and stuff. And my dad always had a business hat on. He was like, publishing rights, you need to write your own song. You need to write your own song.
Oh.
Like literally when I was like 12.
Yeah.
He heard me in the car and he's like, you need to write, girl. Da, 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 da. And I was like, fine. And so, yeah, I would just start by like ripping off chords from a song that I liked and then making a different melody on those chords. I still kind of do that now sometimes. Not gonna lie. I'll just switch 1 chord or 2. Not all the time, but yeah, so yeah, and then it just started. There were definitely a lot of bad songs, but I was just always writing. And then like my music teacher in secondary school, she also was like, you clearly like to write. And so she would give me a bit of guidance on like major 7ths and minor 9ths and all this kind of little jazzy, crunchy chords that I like. So I've just been expressing myself that way so long now. I never always thought about it as a career, even though my dad was like publishing rights, yada, yada. It just became something you know, I didn't enjoy being a teenager very much. So me and my guitar was like my time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
That's why I've been a fan of interviews for a long time, much longer than when I actually started doing them. And that's why I love when artists do interviews so much, because you'll see an artist that blows up and you're inevitably going to blow up, even though you already have a great success right now. So I want to appreciate that. But you see it and you're like, oh, it's this overnight success, or oh, where'd they come from? But then when you actually talk to the artist, it's like they've been writing songs and learning how to play instruments and thinking about publishing for years. So it's not like this new thing. It's really something that's in you that you've continued to embrace over time.
Yeah, I don't know why we treat music artists and creative artists like this overnight success thing. Because at the end of the day, it's about finding an interest and a voice. Like, you wouldn't ask a politician that. Like, a politician's viewpoint probably also starts around the age of 12.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm upset that this isn't working in society, or I'm upset that my family can't access meals for free, or whatever it is.
Right.
And then eventually they'll become a politician like in their 30s, and no one says, oh, are you an overnight political success?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's like, no, because they've been developing their lens for years. And I think that's just a human experience, no matter what you end up doing, maybe. So yeah, you're right. Thank you. That's
Well, why do you think that's only for that? That's a good point. I haven't thought about that. There's no other profession where we think overnight.
Yeah.
We just assume that they've been to school or they've done things. Why do you think that that label is kind of put on artists?
I think it's we're a commodity, especially for female artists and artists of color. We're an object. So they want to know how the object's produced. In the same way that if you're going to produce this microphone, how long did that take to make?
Right.
It's like, how long did that artist take to shape? And I think also artists maybe used to be like that. This whole X Factor model of like a pretty young 21-year-old, let's write a bunch of songs for her. That almost is overnight success, because you're taking someone and you're forcing a shape onto them. Whereas I think if we're talking about modern artists now, like the Chapel Roans, the Charlie XCX, the Sabrina Carpenters, strong female artists with unique voices, of course that voice is going to take years to develop. And that's, again, it's like the human experience. And so I think it's changing, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I did too. So what does success look like for Rosa Cecilia? Is there a certain, I'll leave it at that. What does success look like for you?
Right now, it's like maybe 2 or 3 things. Financial freedom. I'm not asking to earn a bunch, but if I could literally just make a minimum wage or a little bit more fully from making music and hanging out with my band, then that would be lovely.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. I love my band. What would the second thing be? The second thing would be to be able to, again, have the resources to just make a good project a year. To just be able to sit, express, and make like a successful project a year with fantastic collaborators who are in my vicinity. I love the people I'm working with, but again, it's just having the resources.
Right.
And then the third thing, I would love to be able to play more live shows. I'd love to do a tour. Oh my God. I opened for a lovely, lovely friend of mine called Leon. He's an artist in Mexico. He's been doing this a lot longer than I've been doing it. He's an incredible artist with an incredible band. And I supported his show in Barcelona and Madrid because he kindly invited me to. And just seeing him and his success and his work ethic and his kind of like rock star aura, I just love how he does things. So yeah, that was really inspiring for me to watch that. That was only like a couple months ago. And watching that, I was like, I would love to be able to do something like that with my own project. So yeah.
Nice. So just to make a living and to make good albums, at least like an album
and perform them.
And to perform them.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great time to me.
Yeah, right?
Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you wish I had asked you?
This has been like a therapy session,
Yeah.
in the best way possible. I feel like you've asked me amazing things. What haven't you asked me? Oh, can I ask you something? What was your favorite song that I sent or that I have out? And why?
The favorite song for me would probably have to be Desire.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I like to move. I like upbeat. I like all types. Let me just not say that. I like all types because I like slow songs a lot too. And I'm at my heart, I'm an R&B person. So that's what I listen to more than anything else. But it was just something about that. Like right when I heard it, I said, oh, I like this. And even some of your songs, like I don't speak Spanish shamefully because I should, being from Houston.
Cool.
But even some of like when I'm hearing your lyrics and just hearing I connect to vibes of songs. So when I hear the vibe of it and I connect to it and it makes me want to do a little 1-2, a little bachata, a little salsa, then, I feel connected to it.
That's cool. I also love that you didn't ask me, what are your musical influences? Because like people always in interviews like, what are your musical influences?
Yeah. For you, I feel like you wouldn't be able to answer that question because I feel like it's like everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it depends on the week. Who are you listening to right now that you're vibing? Apart from me, obviously.
Right, Rosa Cecilia.
Just
That's
Rosa.
it. Right now, I listen to so much music. I mean, that's kind of like making my job to listen to music. So whatever's new stuff. But I really related to what you said earlier as far as like music discovery being hard, because I hate when I'm listening to like I'll find someone cool on Spotify and then. We're not even going to talk about Apple Music, and I'll shit on both of them. I don't care. Apple Music is like, it's impossible to find new. It's impossible.
I haven't been on it for years.
Yeah, it's crazy. I only got on Spotify once I started this. So I've been straight Apple Music since forever.
Oh, damn.
So I went to Spotify to start finding up-and-coming artists, which kind of was one of the reasons that prompted this. So like, it's all these artists that are super dope that none of my friends know about, that I didn't know about. Why don't we know about them? But even Spotify, sometimes like you'll scroll down and see like artists similar, and it'll either be people that are not too famous, but are famous or are not really the same. So I don't have a specific artist to shout out right now.
Yeah.
But just I love how R&B is evolving right now to where like I'm a traditional 90s baby, so that's kind of where it all started for me. And now it's going to like a dance, to a disco, to I'm saying all of your things, but it's evolving to so many different pop adjacent kind of sub-genres, even like the sexy drill movement that's going on right now. So it's just fun to see the music continue to evolve.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like all the new artists I've discovered recently have been on social media or like a tiny desk. Like, I love this girl right now called Malaysian. You know, I think she might be from Houston, actually.
Malaysian?
But she spends a lot of time here. It's like very like voguey. I should not say it's on the podcast, but like cunty house beats. Kind of vibe. Like, I'm obsessed with her. And then this other like Dominican hip hop artist called Ingrid Layon. Again, I literally found it through someone like twerking on a reel, and I was like, this song is lit. So I went straight to stream it. But yeah, it's never far from Spotify, really.
Yeah, it's hard. I've gotten better at using Spotify to find people, but it's still not as it should be.
Yeah.
But that's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. So before I let you go, obviously you have people that have been supporting and have been listening to you. If you could thank them for one thing, what would you tell them?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I mean, I'd like to be able to thank them individually for different things. Like whether it's people that whether it's people that DM me saying how much like a specific lyric meant to them, even if you just bought a show ticket, like just coming to a show and tagging me on your story, that already is amazing. Yeah, just being able to, like, I was in Paris the other day and this Austrian girl came up to me and she was like, I listened to Take None all summer. And then like Tuesday I met a girl who says that she specifically listens to my music when she cooks. Like it's her sacred time, like it's her self-care space. And she brought like this really cute date to like the show and stuff like that. So I just like to thank you for making me a part of your world. Like that's so delightful that I'm a little soundtrack to a moment in your life. Right. Because that's what music is to me. You know, when like you have a date with someone or you have a moment with your sibling or something and like that song reminds you. And also for me, now that my dad's gone, I have so many songs. I'm like, oh my God, I remember being in the car with my dad or the beach with my dad listening to this. Like the fact that, oh my God, I created something that's tainted someone's day or moment like that. Like that's beautiful.
That is.
So thanks for that.
Thanks for that. And we thank you for coming and letting us into your world. We really appreciate it. It's been amazing to get to know you more. I felt like I knew you before the interview, but now I feel like I know you even more.
Yeah, I probably overshared. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. You did not overshare. And very excited to see where you take your music and to continue to enjoy your music. And hope to be able to catch a show soon.
Yeah, I would love to do a show in Houston.
Yeah, come on down to Houston. We'll host you. With that being said, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, share it with a friend. Rosa Cecilia, WeTM.